What we're going to be building today is a token gated Web3 application. So I have a login page here and we're going to sign in with MetaMask here. We're going to be using thirdweb's Auth. So we're going to be required to sign a message in order to continue. This way we can verify that we are the actual true owners of the wallet here. So we're going to hit sign in. We're going to get a message here for a signature request in our MetaMask here asking us to sign, and we're going to sign this. And what this is going to do is check to see if we have an NFT within this wallet. So this wallet here currently does have access because we do own the NFT with this wallet. And let's sign out here. So I'm going to click here, disconnect, and I'm going to change to a wallet that does not own this NFT. And we're going to sign back in with MetaMask here. And you can see here we need to sign in and sign that signature request again. So we're going to sign this. And right here, this wallet does not own the NFT. So we're directed to the mint page here, which we can claim the NFT. So I'm gonna hit claim now. We're gonna get a transaction here. This NFT is free. I'm just paying for the gas, but of course you could add whatever amount you wanted to charge someone for this NFT. We're gonna hit confirm. And once I finish claiming this NFT, we'll then have access to the application. And right over here, you can see we have access. We are now allowed into our app. And if I were to sign out again and sign back in with the same wallet, we'll hit sign in. We'll sign that signature request one more time. Now we won't be directed to the mint page because again, we own this NFT already. So we now have access to this application. And this is going to be the simple token gating application that we're going to build. Of course, on this page here, this is where you'll build your app that you want people to have access to if they own the NFT. And then you can design and build your own claim page as well for people who don't own the NFT and want to gain access to your application. Hey everyone, Sean Watasa here, back with another tutorial video, and in today's video we're going to be building our very own token gated Web3 application. And an overview of what we're going to be covering in this video here, we'll first deploy ourselves an NFT contract for the NFT that's going to be required to gain access to our app. Then we'll go into our code editor, build our project out. We'll build a login page for a user to log into. We'll then build a mint page where a user will then be able to claim the NFT if they don't own one. And then we'll build our app page, which will be the final page if the user signs in, signs a verification, owns the NFT. They'll then be able to access the page where our application will live. And with all of that being covered, let's jump on the computer here and get started. So first thing we're going to do here is head on over to thirdweb's website. I'm already signed in. I have my wallet connected. I'm going to head on over to the contracts tab here, and I'm going to select the deploy contract. And I'm going to choose an addition drop contract here, which is an ERC 1155 contract. Now, depending on how you want to token gate your application, you can do ERC 721s and ERC 20 token. You can do ERC 1155s. You can check the balances of any of these tokens, and we can, configure our access to the application based on that. But I'm going to do an addition drop here. I'm going to hit deploy now, and we're just going to do a token. We'll say token gated NFT, and we'll just say TG NFT here. And you can add a description, image, and configure these parameters to your liking. Down here at the bottom, we're going to select a network and chain. In the drop down here, you can select any EVM compatible mainnet or testnet. For this tutorial, I'm going to select Mumbai to deploy my contract to, and then we're going to hit deploy now. We'll get a transaction here where we have to pay for gas to deploy our contract. We'll confirm. We'll then get a signature request here to add this to our thirdweb dashboard. So we'll sign that. And once that's deployed, we'll be brought to our contract dashboard here. And the next thing we'll do is create our NFT that we want to use to token gate our application. So on the left-hand navigation here, I'm going to come over to the NFTs tab. We're just going to do a single upload. And I'm just going to do a token access NFT here. Now you can add an image, description, properties, whatever you want to add as the metadata for your NFT. Just for this tutorial, I'm just going to give it a name and lazy mint this NFT here. We'll get the transaction here to lazy mint our NFT. We'll confirm that. Once that is confirmed, we'll then be able to select this NFT, and we're going to set its claim conditions. So once we selected the NFT, we're going to come over to the claim conditions tab. and we're going to add a phase. Now, depending on the phase on how you want to sell the NFT, for this tutorial, we're just going to do public. We're going to make it free and an unlimited amount here, but you'll set the cost and everything for your NFTs, the limit and everything that you want for your NFT right over here if you're using something like an ERC 1155 like we're doing in this tutorial. But I'm going to leave everything as is. It's going to be free, unlimited, and I'm going to hit save phase. And I'm going to confirm that transaction there. There we go. Our claim phase has been saved. And you can see here we have our public claim phase. So this is going to be it for our NFT smart contract here. Again, we deployed an ERC 1155 token, and it's going to be free to claim with an unlimited amount. And this is going to be the NFT token that we use to check the balance of and make sure that the wallet connected to our application actually owns this NFT so that we can give them access into our app. If not, we direct them to a mint page where they can claim it. And if not, then they're going to have to log in and sign in and verify their wallet using thirdweb's Auth. So now that we have that set, let's build out our project here. I'm going to open up my terminal and we're going to create a new thirdweb project. So I'm going to run npx thirdweb create app. We're going to name this token gated app. We're going to use Next.js and TypeScript. Once that's done, we'll change into our project folder here. So we'll go to our token gated app and we'll open this up in our code editor. And in our code editor here, we're first going to set up our thirdweb provider. So in the pages folder, head on over to the _app.tsx file and we'll have to set up this thirdweb provider here. So the first thing in here is the client ID. And this is a variable that we're storing in our .env file. So coming back to our file directory here, you'll see a .env.example file. And you can see here, this is where we need to put in our client ID variable. And this essentially is our thirdweb API key. So if you come back over to thirdweb here, we're going to come over to the settings tab. And in our settings tab, we'll have our API keys. Now you can create a new API key if you don't already have one. We'll drop links down in the description below to documentation and a tutorial video that goes through how to create your very own thirdweb API keys and the services and everything that you can enable for them. I already have one here, so I'm just going to copy this. Come back to my app here, paste that in. And the last thing I'm going to do is rename this file and get rid of the .example. And leave it at just .env here. So coming back to the _app.tsx file, that is our client ID. Next is our active chain, which is this active chain variable here, which is up here and by default is set to Ethereum. I'm going to change this to Mumbai because that's the chain that I deployed my smart contract to. You'll change this to whatever chain that you are building your application for. Now, if you need to import additional chains, you can always use the @thirdweb-dev/chains here and pass them directly into the active chain here. So that sets up our thirdweb project here. If we open up our terminal and run yarn dev, we can take a look at it. So right here, it's going to load up and we have our boilerplate code from thirdweb here with a connect wallet button, links to our portal, docs, dashboard, and templates here. So now let's start building out our application. The first thing we're going to need to build is our Auth. So if we look at thirdweb's docs here and we come to our Auth documentation, we'll link this down in the description below. With Auth, we can install and set this up with our application. We'll first need to set up the backend here, set up our Auth API. And what we're going to do here is be able to, again, authenticate a user based on their wallet. So what a user will have to do is when they connect a wallet, they'll have to verify that the wallet they're signing in with by actually signing a signature for that wallet. And this is just a way where we can truly verify that the wallet being connected is owned by the person that is connecting to our application. And to set up thirdweb's Auth here, we're just going to come into our file directory. In our pages, we're going to create a new, a new folder called API. In that API folder, we're going to create a new folder called Auth. And then in that Auth folder, we're going to create a new file within brackets. We're going to add thirdweb.ts. And this is where we're going to set up our Auth API. So in here, we're going to export our auth, which is going to be our thirdweb auth handler, along with something called get user. And again, we're going to use thirdweb auth here, and we're going to import that right over here. So we're going to import thirdweb auth from at thirdweb -dev/auth/next. And for our thirdweb auth, to configure this, we're going to provide it with two things. We're going to provide it with a wallet, and this wallet is going to be the wallet that we generate the message that needs to be signed and verified when we want to verify the user's wallet. And we'll also provide the domain, which is going to be the domain that is shown in the message. That way the signer knows that the message is being generated by us. So we can do domain. So the wallet, in order to get the wallet here, we're going to need to provide it with our private key. And we're going to create a new private key wallet. And by providing it with a private key, we'll be able to, again, provide our thirdweb auth with the wallet needed to generate the message. Now we're going to import private key from thirdweb-dev/auth/evm. And we're going to store our wallet private key in our .env file. Now, this isn't going to be the secure way or the proper way to store your private key, but for tutorial's sake and for the sake of time, we're just going to store our private key in our .env file. For production application, you would want to store your private key in something like a key manager, and we'll add links down in the description below on how you can set something like that up. So again, we're going to provide our private key in our .env file, which I'll set up in a bit. And then over here for our domain, we'll get this from our .env file as well. We'll store our domain in there. So coming back to our .env file here, we're going to add those two variables. So we have private key and we have domain. And for domain, you'll just add your domain. But for here, I'm just going to make it like example.com. And then for our private key, we're going to grab our wallet's private key and provide it here. Now I'm going to grab my wallet's private key, add it in here, and then we'll head back to our thirdweb.ts file. So back in our thirdweb.ts file, that does it for our thirdweb auth. Again, this is going to provide us with our thirdweb auth handler and something called get user. And we'll go through that in a bit when we start to build out our login, our application page, and our mint page. So we're going to export default the thirdweb auth handler here. And again, that does it for our auth API. Now I'm going to come back to my files here and head on over to the index.tsx page, again in the pages folder. And in here, this is the boilerplate code that you get when you create a project with thirdweb. I'm just going to grab everything here in between the div. So we're going to keep the main and then this div here with the class name of container. Everything inside of it, I'm going to delete. So let me just grab all of this and delete that there. And we'll get rid of this image import and we'll leave the connect wallet here. So again, this is going to be the page that is shown if a user verifies the wallet that they signed in with and they hold the NFT that's required to gain access to our application. So in here, I'm just going to give it a title and just say you have access, and we'll provide a connect wallet button right below that. So if I were to come back to my application here, again, they should see this, you have access, and they should see a connected version of the connect wallet button here. We're going to just center this really quick. I'm going to come into my styles, into this home.module.css here. And I'm just going to give this container a display of flex. We'll give it a flex direction of column, justify content, and align items in the center. And I'm going to give it a height of 100 of the view height here. And that should just center everything in the middle here. Cool. So again, this page is once the user signs in, signs the message here to authenticate their wallet. We check that they have the token. They should land on this page here. Now we only want them to be able to land on that page if they pass all of those checks for us. And to do that, we're going to create a server-side prop function here. So we're going to export, we're going to get server-side props here. And what this will do is this function here is going to run anytime this page tries to render and load. And it's going to check to make sure that, hey, is this wallet verified? Did they sign the message? And do they hold the NFT? So in here, we're going to get context, we'll just say of type any. And in this server-side prop, this again is going to be where we check to see if the user can actually access this page. So what we're going to do is create a variable here called user. And we're going to await and use the get user here from our thirdweb auth here. And in that get user, we're going to provide it with the context.request. We can import this get user. Now, if there is no user, so if we can't verify the user because they didn't sign the message, we're going to redirect them to our login page because they need to log in and sign that message in order to gain access to our application. Or that's one of the steps that they have to do. Down here, we're going to get something called our secret key, which we're going to store in our .env file as well. The secret key is going to allow us to gain server-side access to, or server-side and backend access to thirdweb's SDK. And if we have no secret key, we're just going to throw an error here that says no secret key was found. So next thing we need to do is create a function that is going to check and see if the connected wallet and the user. So after that, we need to create a function that checks to see if the connected wallet and user owns the NFT. Right? So we verified that they signed the message that they're logged in. Now we need to see, hey, do they own the NFT? Should we give them access to our app? Or do they not own the NFT and do they need to go to the mint page to claim an NFT? So I'm going to come to my file directory here. We're going to create a couple files. I'm going to first create a folder here called lib, and I'm going to create a new file in that called constants.ts. We'll store our contract address and everything in here. So in this file, we're going to export a constant of our contract address. And let's grab our NFT contract address here. So I'm going to come back to my NFT contract that I deployed earlier, copy the contract address, come back in here and paste that in. Next, I'm going to come back to my file directory here, create a new folder called utils. And in that utils folder, I'm going to create a new file called checkbalance.ts. And in this check balance here, this is where I'm going to check the balance of the user and make sure that they own the NFT that is required to gain access to the application. So we're going to create a async function here called check balance. And this check balance is going to need to get our SDK, which is going to be of type thirdweb SDK. And it will also need address that we're going to check the balance of, which is going to be of type string. So in this function here, we'll first get our contract. So we'll store it in a contract constant here, and we're going to await, and using our SDK, we can use the get contract function and get the contract of our contract address that we stored in our constants file that we just created earlier. And then we're going to get the balance, and we can get the balance by, we'll do await our contract, and we're going to specify that this is an ERC 1155 contract, and we're going to check the balance of. And then the balance of, we need to provide it with the address we're checking the balance for, which will be the address that is provided. And then since it's a ERC 1155, the token ID that we want to check the balance for. And we only have one NFT, so the token ID is going to be 0. And then at the very end, we're just going to return the balance from our function here. So now when we come back to the index.tsx page, we can now check the balance of the user here to see if that wallet that signed and authenticated here does own the NFT. So we'll first need to provide our function with our SDK. So we'll need to get the SDK here, and we're going to get a new thirdweb SDK, and we'll do from private key here. And we'll have to provide it with our private key from our wallet. So again, we're just gonna get the one that is stored in our .env file. Again, if you are creating a production grade application, check the links down in the description below on how to securely store your private key. You won't want to do it the way we're doing it here in the tutorial, but for time's sake, again, this is how we're doing it here. So we're going to get our private key from our .env file as string. We'll then need to say what chain we're doing this for. So we're going to put Mumbai. And then we're going to need to provide it the option of our secret key. And this secret key is going to be in our .env file as well. We don't need to get rid of the new there. And we're going to store our secret key here. So when you create an API key, you're going to be given a secret key. That secret key you're told to store in a secure place because you're only given it once. So that's going to be the secret key that we're going to provide in our .env file. Now I'm going to add this into my .env file, and then we'll be right back over here. All right, so I added my secret key to my .env file, and now that we have our SDK, we can now check the token balance, let me close this, of our user with our check balance function that we created. So I'm going to create a variable called token balance, and we're going to await and use the check balance function here and provide it with our SDK along with the address we're checking the balance for, which is going to be the user, which we get up here, and we can get the address property from that, and that will be the wallet address of the connected user. Now, once we got the token balance, we can check if the token balance is equal to 0, then they don't own the NFT, and we can direct them to the mint page where they can then claim the NFT. Over here, so the token balance that we get returned is going to be a big number. So we can just convert that to a number here by using toNumber. And then again, we can compare that to if it does equal 0, that means they don't own the NFT. We'll redirect them to our mint page that we're going to create, and then they'll be able to mint the NFT. If it doesn't equal 0, it means that they own the NFT. We're just going to return empty props here. We don't need to return anything further than that. They'll then gain access to our application here. Just going through this here, this get server side props gets called every time this page tries to render. And what we're going to do to make sure that they can gain access to this page is we're going to get the user, and we get a user once again the connected wallet signs the auth message and verifies that they are the owner of the wallet. If they don't have that, then we're going to present them with the login page. If they are signed in, then we're going to verify and check to see if they own the NFT. So we're going to get the token balance here using our check balance function that we created. And if the balance is equal to 0, it means that they don't own the NFT. We redirect them to the mint page where they can claim one. And if they do own more than 0, they won't have to do this, and they get passed on into our application here. So the next thing we need to do is create our login and mint pages. So I'm going to come into my files here in the pages folder. I'm going to create a new file. The first one is the login.tsx file. And then I'm going to create another file called mint.tsx. So in the login.tsx file, we're just going to create our login page here. And for this login page, I'm just going to return a div here that has a title of login. And for this login page, we're going to use a Connect Embed component. So similar to like the Connect Wallet component where it allows a user to connect a wallet to the application, we're going to use Connect Embed, which doesn't display them a button to press, but just gives them the option to select the wallet. So essentially, we're going to be building a login page here. And to do that, we're going to first get a variable here called show Connect Embed. And we're going to use the show Connect Embed hook here. So this tells us if we should display the login or the Connect Embed login or not. Up here, I'm going to create a variable called login optional. And we're going to set this to false, not true. Because login is not going to be optional. Login will always be required here. And in here, if we do need to show the Connect Embed, then we're going to show here the Connect Embed UI component. And if we don't need to show the Connect Embed, it means that our user is signing in. So we're just going to create some text here saying signing in. And that's just the split second of loading that the Connect Embed is then authenticating the user. So we're going to just show some loading text here saying that our application is currently signing in the user. Now for this Connect Embed, we do need to configure it to let it know that we are going to require Auth here. So in here, we're going to add Auth. And for the Auth, we need to set that login optional right here, which we set to false, which means login is not optional. And that's all we need to add in for Auth. Now for Auth, you can also add callbacks for when a user logs in, when a user logs out. So you can see here on login, and you can say on login, we can, run whatever functions and logic you need to. So for this example, just console that they logged in. And you can do the same thing for logout as well. We just say, console log that they logged out. But you do need to add in the auth here and the login option here, which login optional we set to false. Now we'll also have to come back to our _app.tsx and configure our third web provider to accept our auth config as well. So in our third web provider here, we're going to add our auth config. And for our auth config, we need to provide it with our domain, which is going to be the same domain that we stored in our .env file. So let's say process.env.domain. And we'll give it our auth URL. And that's just going to be the route to our auth API that we created earlier. So with that set up, now we should require that in our login page here, that we need to log in. And with that, we should now have auth set up. Again, we configured it in our initial connect here using Connect Embed, and we have to configure it in our _app.tsx file. So if I come back to our app here, refresh, okay, wait, it's redirecting to our Mint page because we were logged in already. Let's create that Mint page just really quick. So I'm gonna come here to Mint. I'm just going to create this Mint page. And we're just going to add a Connect Wallet button here really quick so that we can just log out of our app. Or actually, let's see here. We're just going to get rid of this and just go directly to our localhost. There you go. So when you load localhost, if we just go back to the main domain here, again, it's checking to see if we have a user. We don't have a user, so it brings us to our login page here. Now, if I connect with my MetaMask here, you can see here I'm prompted to sign. So I have to verify and authenticate my wallet by signing a message. That message is then generated by the wallet that we gave the private key of. And then we're going to hit sign. And you can see here we're logging in. And from here, once we log in, we should then be able to check if we need to be redirected into our application or if we need to be redirected to mint the NFT. So I'm going to come back here. We didn't set that up yet, so it's not going to go there. But you can see if we try to reload the main application page, it's going to bring us to the mint page because, again, we didn't claim that NFT yet. But we're going to handle that right now in our login page. And what we're going to handle is if we should be redirected directly to the mint or the actual application itself. So we're going to create a variable here called address, and we're going to use the use address hook here. And we're also going to create a router here using use router. Let me just import that. And what we're going to create is a use effect here. And this use effect, if we do have an address, which means that we connected a wallet to our application, right? Because if we use the use address hook, it returns us back the wallet address if we have a wallet connected. And if we have a wallet connected, then we're going to try to load our application page. And then if we don't have the NFT, it brings us to the mint page. If not, we gain access to the actual application page. So now if I come back to my app here, let's log out. Let's come back to our main here. It's going to redirect us to login. We'll log in with our MetaMask here. We have to sign that message. There you go. You can see it tries to route us to the application, but because we don't own the NFT, it is going to bring us to our mint page. Now I'm going to come back here, and in this div, I'm just going to paste in some styling to center our connect or login page here. And we'll come back to our app. Next thing we're going to do is then now create the mint page here. So we'll create a page and a button where a user can then now claim the NFT so that they can gain access to our application. So coming back here, we're going to go to our mint.tsx page. So now in our mint.tsx page, or our mint page here, under our connect wallet button, we're going to create a web3 button. That's a UI component here from thirdweb, and it allows us to create a button to easily interact with our smart contracts. So you can see here, we'll just name this button claim NFT. And now this web3 button requires a couple of things. We need our contract address, which is going to be our contract address. That we stored in our constants. Then we need to provide it an action. So what action is it going to perform on our contract here? So with this, we can specify it is an ERC 1155 and that we want to call the, not the chain ID, the claim function. And the claim function, we need to provide it the token ID and then the quantity we want to claim. So we're going to claim token ID 0, and we're only going to claim one of it whenever this button is pressed. So over here, you can see we have a claim NFT button now. And I'm just going to give some styling here to these divs. So again, this div here, going to give it some styling. And then there we have it now centered in our page. So when a user clicks here, they'll be able to claim the NFT. So if we hit this, a transaction should appear saying that we need to claim the NFT and pay the gas to claim it. Again, we didn't charge anything for these NFTs, but the user would then have to pay whatever you set as your claim condition. So we're just going to reject that here. Now what we need to do here in our mint page is also now be able to redirect the user to our application once they claim the mint. So first we'll check if a user is logged in. So we can get our is logged in and is loading here from our use user, and we're going to get our router here as well. And then on here, our web3 button, what we're going to do is on success. So if our claim is successful here, we're going to again try to route them back into our main application. So we'll save that. And now if we come back to our app here, when we claim the NFT, we should be routed back. We should be routed to our application. It'll again check to see if we have a wallet signed in, if the wallet owns the NFT, and then allow us access. Now, if we disconnect here, you can see that we still remain on this mint page here. Now, if someone logs out of this mint page, we want to make sure that they're redirected back to our login page. And that's why we use the use user here, because if we lose this user, right, if they disconnect from our application, we want to route them back into our login page. So we're going to create a use effect here. And in this use effect, let's just import this. We're going to check if a user is not logged in, then we are going to, again, route them to our login page. So if we come back here, you can see we are brought to our login page. If I try to go in directly into the mint page, I'm just going to be brought right back to the login page because I shouldn't be able to access that page. Once I sign in here with a MetaMask, I confirm. Again, I sign this message here. It's going to try to log me into the main application. I won't be able to there. It's then going to bring me to the mint page because I don't own the NFT. Again, if I disconnect from here, it should bring me back to this login page. So again, let's try and mint this NFT now. So I'll sign this. We're going to claim the NFT here. We'll confirm this transaction. You can see it's claiming the NFT here. And there you go. I now gain access into the application because, again, I connected, verified, and authenticated my wallet, and I own the NFT, so I now have access to this. If we look at our NFT contract here, and I go back here, I should have a supply of 1 because, again, we claimed it with our wallet, so we have 1 supply here. And we can now check this if I disconnect here. And so we'll do one more thing here. Once we log out, same thing here. If we log out of our application here, we should be brought to our login page, or we should be able to check to see if we do have a user still, they should be able to have access to this page. So coming back to our index.tsx here, similar to how we did with the mint page, we're going to create a user here, or we're going to is logged in and is loading, and we're going to use the use user hook, and we're going to get our router here, and we're going to create a use effect, and we'll import use effect here. And again, if a user is not logged in, then we should route them back to the login page. So coming back to our app here, we're on our login page. Let's log in. We sign. We should have the app, the NFT, so we should have access to our application. So you can see here we have access. And if I disconnect from the application, it should bring me back to the login page. If I try to access the application directly, again, bounces me to the login page because I do not have a wallet authenticated, which means I have to sign in. Now, if we change our wallets here to a different wallet that does not own the NFT, I'll connect my MetaMask here. We'll sign that message. Now, again, it brings us to the mint page here. If I try to gain access to our application here, it's just going to redirect me to the mint page because I don't own the NFT. If I sign out, again, it brings me back to the login page. We'll sign the message, sign this, claim the NFT, confirm. There we go. We were able to mint the NFT, and now we have access to our app. We can look at our contract here, and we now have a supply of 2 NFTs minted. And if we come back to our app here and we disconnect, we're brought back to our login page. Again, not being able to access our application without verifying everything. And there you have it. We built a simple application going through the workflow on how you can token gate your Web3 applications. You can token gate it again to NFTs like an ERC 721 or an ERC 1155. You can even token gate it to a certain supply of ERC 20 tokens if you choose to do so. So you can get creative on how you want to create your token gating. Again, you can just check the balances of these tokens, and you can verify and make sure that the wallet that is authenticating does own or have the balance that is needed to access your application. But again, I hope you folks enjoyed this video and you found some value in it. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on more tutorial videos just like this. If you need any support or help, we'll drop a link down in the description below where you can open up a support ticket, and our support team will be happy to help you out and answer any of your questions. But again, I hope you folks enjoyed this video, and until next time, see ya.